All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hi, Cynthia. Well, nobody, only one person responded. I believe you guys are still signing in, but let me quickly check what's happening in the today's forum, because I have noticed that some people forget to sign into discussion board. I have like 10 people that signed into the discussion board, but I have only 6 people in here. So I believe at least 4 more people will sign in, come to the Collaborate. But before coming to the Collaborate, it's very important, before coming to the Collaborate, that you sign into the forum, discussion board forum, to do the attendance report, because that's your sign-in sheet, and that is your physical evidence, physical proof of attendance. Okay, so if you don't sign in there, but just come to the Collaborate, later on, there's no physical proof of your attendance. That's, you might say, Professor, I was there, but then, and I even spoke to you, I spoke with you, Well, my memory is not photographic. First of all, even if my memory is photographic, unless I can print it out, unless I can print out my memory, there is no physical proof, right? And what's important is always the physical proof. So don't forget to leave your digital footprint, right? The attendance report in the forum is the digital footprint, as well as the physical proof. And if you say, I was there at the Collaborate session, there's no way you can prove it, because it's transitory, right? Word of the mouth is never a proof, right? Word of the mouth is never a proof. I see Marielle is currently joining, and let me check if she has okay, Marielle, she's still, I think she has connectivity issue. Marielle, can you hear me? Marielle, please respond if you can hear me. Now, this is the problem. Yeah, Marielle,
Yes, I can hear you, Professor.
Okay, great. Marielle, don't forget to sign into the discussion board, right? I saw yesterday and the day before yesterday. I don't know if it was. Let me check. But both dates. I don't know if it was both days, but you didn't report attendance in the discussion board. But I remember one day, at least yesterday, I remember seeing you in the Collaborate session. So I gave you attendance point. But then, if I don't remember, there's no proof, right? As I said, the first order of business when you come to Blackboard is to go to the discussion board and make your attendance report. And that's the only physical proof, and that is your digital footprint. And when it is there, nobody can argue, nobody can dispute that you are not there. I mean, because there's a proof, right? But then everybody's just coming to the Collaborate first, but and forgetting to sign in to the discussion board. But then it will, it's not going to help you um, because there's no physical proof of your attendance, right? So don't forget, it's your responsibility, and for your own good, for your best interest. Please go first to the discussion board and do the attendance report. Okay? Did you just do it, Marielle? Because I saw your microphone light up.
No, Professor, every time I go on there, there's nothing there. Like I try and click on it or
How
assignments and
how come
nothing
there's
pops.
nothing there? Let me show you.
I'm
Okay. Because you might need
I
to
went on my
then
first day of class and nobody was there except I forgot his name.
no. Look. Today let me share my screen. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, let me share my screen. So here, all right. So don't you see this? There are like 13 people, 13 posts. That means, including my post, it's 13. So there's at least, 11, 12 people there. When you come to Blackboard before 6 p.m., it's not visible. It's not showing. I told you the discussion board forum opens exactly at 6 p.m. So if you were there before 6 p.m., at least you should refresh your browser, right?
That just happened to me now.
So you see it now? Marielle, do you see it now? Did I lose you or what? Marielle, are you there? I think you're there. You're still there. And let's see. Okay, you haven't signed in yet. Let me check yesterday and the day before yesterday. So let's sort it by the author. See, yesterday Marielle was not there, but see, I don't see Marielle here. And then 7:20.
So all the
Okay.
assignments pop up after
So,
class is
hold
over.
on. Are you speaking now? Hold on. Are you speaking now?
Yes.
Okay. So, did you find today's forum?
No, I'm on my telephone right now.
Oh no. If you're
I don't have my
on your
computer
phone,
in
then
front of me.
that's no. You gotta use the phone has limitations. Okay. You gotta use the computer. The phone has limitations. You can't do much, especially. Um, so, but since I'm look, can you see this, Marielle? Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
This is 7:20, right?
No,
7:20,
yeah.
July 20th, and I don't see you here. I don't see you here. So you have no proof of attending on that.
That's
Hush,
what I was
hush.
asking you before.
Okay, and there were people that double signed it. There's no need for double report because uh, I will delete one later because that overcounts, right? That overcounts uh, the people. And then it's the same thing on July 21st.
So,
Okay, you're not there on July 20th. So
but
there is
even
no
on
problem with there's no problem with the Blackboard. If you cannot see it, that means because you're accessing it only by the phone. You must
No, I'm
use
accessing
the
it through
computer.
my computer. Today
Hmm?
I'm accessing it through my phone because I just got out of work.
I'm sorry, you gotta raise your microphone volume, or you gotta speak up. Um,
I just got out of
so
work, so that's why I'm on my phone. But usually I'm on my computer, and so whenever I would log on, there was nothing on either the discussion boards
how
or
come? How come? Did you go to discussion board?
yes, and nothing appeared on the discussion board. It said no content is available.
No, how
So
come?
I'm
Other
not
people
sure if
are
you had
in
made it
there.
available after class
Maybe
or
it's
not. I was very confused.
okay. Look, so other people can see it. Other people come in and they sign in like this. So then it's probably your computer. Maybe the browser you're using. What kind of browser are you using?
The Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Okay, you might need to update. You might need to update Google Chrome, or you might try other browsers like Firefox, or what is this called? I'm using Microsoft Edge. I'm using Microsoft Edge. So you try other browsers or
What
update
is
Google
anyone
Chrome.
else using a Mac iOS laptop to sign in?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, because I had emailed you, Professor, the day of when classes started to say if to either are we in class, because I was very confused. There was nobody on, and there was nothing available there, so I had no idea what your sign in was directions
Okay,
were.
so that's what I'm saying. If other people don't have problem, then it's your computer. So you need to update your browser or use another browser like Firefox or Microsoft Edge. Okay, because it's very important, because it's the physical proof, right? Your digital footprint of your attendance.
So you
At least, yes, yeah. Yesterday, I remember, because although there is no physical proof, I marked you present because yesterday I remember you answered a question, right?
no,
Isn't that
yeah,
right? So you
yes.
answered a question yesterday. So from that, because I remember, but you were fortunate because I remembered. But if I didn't remember, then you could have marked absent. Okay,
So we have to
and
sign
so
into the
you were
discussion
okay.
board to be counted present.
Okay, I can barely hear you. It's like you're very remote,
So
right?
do we
So
have to
please,
sign into the discussion board to be present?
yes, because that's the sign-in sheet. That's the physical proof. That's your digital footprint. You must leave
Okay.
your physical footprint, digital footprint, and you must have your physical proof of attendance, and it cannot be denied, right? When you have the record, physical record, it cannot be disputed. Okay. So here are two things. So yesterday you were present, and yesterday you answered. So uh, you should have earned zero point 0.5 points, right, for attendance and answering a question. Another thing, when you answer a question, please state your name clearly. State your name, enunciate your name, because when your voice is very faint, sometimes when you say Mariel, it may sound to me like Gabriel, or if your name is Gabriel, if you're not enunciating, it may be confused with Mariel, because only what I hear is only L, real, right? It's not first syllabus. First syllable is not heard. First syllable is very faint, only the last syllable, second, and the last syllable is heard. So it sounds like real, real. Then what is that? Who is it? Is it Gabriel? Is it Mariel? So to you must enunciate to make it very distinct. Okay? And it's all because sometimes, it must be your computer's audio setting or whatever. Some people I hear loud and clear. Some people it's very faint, right? So if it when I ask you to speak up, then either speak up or check the microphone setting of your computer. Maybe your microphone is not, or maybe it's the internet or whatever. Okay, so let's see. So something I need to. Where is this thing? Okay, I gotta go to. Oh, not here, not here. What am I doing? Okay, so this is how I keep. Maybe you're also looking at this Excel file. This is how I keep the track of your record, Mario. So it has to be. All right,
Do I get?
but I'm not sure. You got, look, you got 0.25, right? You got 0.25 and 0.25 for attendance and for answering questions, right? Answering one question. But I don't have any physical proof of your attendance on July 20th. I don't remember if you were in collaborate session or not. So this is why it's important, okay?
I was on Collaborate. That's why I had emailed you on the 20th asking if you were there for class because there were only 2 students in there when we went on.
Okay, once again, there's no physical proof. I mean, you emailed me, but I don't know if you I don't remember if I replied to your email or not. Did you send email to my Yahoo account or
I
EMC's
sent
email?
it to the one you had mentioned on the faculty information tab.
Okay, if you sent it to my DMCC email, uh, it's I've been telling you, you gotta send it to my Yahoo mail because it goes out. Everything goes into junk mail. A lot of emails go to junk mail folder, and I I cannot realistically. It's not possible for me to sort through my junk mail. Um, it's impossible. That's why I cannot like hand pick. Okay, I cannot hand select which one is the relevant email or which one is not. There are so many in the junk mail, so that's why I gave you. That's why I gave you my personal email. Okay, and let me check if I. Yeah, I replied to you. I said, yes, I'm normally in the Collaborate session. You seem to have been not only missing the Collaborate, but also the discussion board forum. But your email was saying, will you be attending the Collaborate meeting today? And that was sent on July 20th. Again, you are asking me, but that is not a proof enough. That was, you sent that email before 6 p.m., before the class. The email was time-stamped July 20th, 6:20 p.m. Okay, so if this email was time-stamped 6:20 p.m., that means you are not in the Collaborate session at 6:20 p.m. If you were there in the Collaborate session, you wouldn't even be asking me this question, right? And then there is no digital footprint, or there is no physical proof of your attendance in the Collaborate session. So
I was under the impression that we just had to join the Collaborate session.
okay, listen, I can barely, you're very faint. I can barely hear you. You're very faint. So we cannot spend too much time on this, okay? Because the class is waiting. This is why, this is why we are doing it, like a two-lane traffic, right? If you watch the videos, you're getting the lecture from the video. And actually, we are in the Collaborate session. In the Collaborate session, we are reflecting. We are reflecting on and reflecting on the lecture that was delivered in the video, and ask questions, and I take your questions and answer your questions. So that way, people who don't need this, 20 minutes, it's been 25 minutes since 6, and all this 25 minutes have been used, not covering the material, but basically talking about the protocol, right? So if you are, if you are a very if you're a studious student, you're studying very hard, and you're a quick learner, you get it very quick, you understand this, quickly, very quickly, and this is this is a piece of cake, then this is, to you, this will be unbearable, because it's simply a waste of 25 minutes, and the time that could have been used more productively was wasted for those people. And that's why I'm telling those people, you can go ahead, with the lecture video, you can and another thing is, the Collaborate session is like, always one day behind. It's not keeping up, it's not in sync with the videos, and because we're reflecting on the videos that were assigned on the previous day. So it's inevitable in the Collaborate session, the progress is very slow. So people who need slow progress, people who are driving in the slow lane, come to the Collaborate session. Everyone needs to be in the Collaborate session, but you can turn up the volume. You can mute the Collaborate session, and if you need this time to study the videos, you can do that. Okay, but if you have, always fallback, it's like, even if you have no problem so far, but when you have a problem, you can always fall back. You can always pull over into Collaborate session, and then ask questions. You can always go back to the videos and continue, resume. So again, it's very unfortunate, but since on July 20th, there is no proof of attendance for Marielle. I'll have to go by the record. And so please, for your best interest, this is something you didn't need, but it's because your browser setting, there must be something with your browser setting. So please update your browser or try another browser. Okay, try a different browser. All righty. So where am I? At least I know Mariel is here today, but I still don't see her. Okay, so let's go back to and yesterday we stopped right before the this house value example. So let's think about it. And you have this file. I want you to open this file too. Does everyone know where to find this file? I told you.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, someone already said, can we start the class, please? See, so in the lecture notes folder, right? In the lecture notes folder, course materials here. On the first day, I told you to download these files, and it's this file. If you downloaded it, you would have it. Now, so here, so if you have this file open in front of you, let me know how many of you have this file in front of you now.
Me.
Me, Professor.
Okay, state your name. State your name. If you say me, Professor, I cannot see it. But
Me, Sophia.
Safia and there was Abul and there was
Abror. No.
Okay.
Abror Bek. Abror Bek.
Okay, Abrobak. Okay, good. So I believe more than 3 people at least, and we have like 11 people here in the Collaborate session. If I remember correctly. So 3. You might say I would assume more than 3, but as the saying, 3 is a crowd. 3 is a crowd. 2 is a company. 3 is a crowd. So yeah, I have enough crowd that have. So I would assume almost everyone has this file open. So let's do this. I will. So basically, I will highlight some columns. When I highlight those columns, using a light color so that it won't be so what does that mean? The white columns are initial data. Initial data meaning it's given. Initial data, right? Given. But then these highlighted cells are calculated cells. Calculated. Okay, calculated. So I want you to also highlight those columns and delete highlighted columns. Delete the highlighted columns. Okay, that's fine. And you might wonder, everything is, then everything is gone. Of course, the cells that are related to these columns are obviously affected, right? Now, so our assumption is like this. So you bought a house at the end of 2005. So like December 31st. And the data is collected, data of the house value is collected always at the end of the year, because I explained yesterday, what's important is the closing price closing price because that's the conclusion of that time period, right? Remember that? Oh, and so this is a very artificial assumption because in reality, nobody buys house exactly on the last day of the year. But just for the sake of the thought experiment, we assume that the house was purchased at the end of the year, and you check the house value at the end of every year. And so these are the house values at the end of each year. So these are given data. These are initial input data already given. And at the end of 2016, this was the house value, and you sold the house. So then what is the, let's check the capital gains or appreciation or depreciation of the house value. Now we do that, and since we are, since our data is sorted in descending order, what does that mean? Descending order, right? From the most current year to the most, from the earlier year, from the most current year to the most remote year, right?
Up to them.
Latest to the farthest. So we can calculate capital gains. It's easy. It's simply this minus this, isn't it right? It's 2016 house value minus 2015 house value. Right? Isn't that right? It's B2 minus B3. And I'm not going to tell you it's 500,000 minus 400. It's wordy. It's wordy, and if you keep like speaking, then it becomes very hard to even utter out something. So it's easier to say, because everybody knows this data is in B2, this data value is in B3. So go by the data location, okay? Go by the data location. And you hit enter. Yeah, that's the capital gains between 2015 and 2016. What about 2015? Will someone help me? What about 2015? Can someone help me? What's the capital gains between 2015 and 2014?
Would it be B3 minus B4?
Yes, you're right. But you must start with the equal, always equals, because that means capital gains is equal to, right? Capital gains is equal to B3 minus
B4.
B4, yes. Okay, who was that? State your name.
Marielle.
Marielle, okay, good, Marielle. So you get, okay, now your microphone, your sound is much better. Marielle, you got 0.25 for that. Now, but then, do we need to do this one by one like that? Do we need to do that one by one like that?
No.
No.
It's going to be very tedious if you do it like that. So what's a better way?
You have to draw it down with the bottom.
Yes, because it's basically the same logic. It's the same logic, same formula. You don't have to repeat it. All you need to do is just, I told you, you bring the cursor to this corner, right? I call that southeast corner where the borderline is broken and there is a square dot there. You bring the cursor there. That means Excel is ready to copy and paste. So you place it there and drag it down. But you stop here because you cannot go any further because there's no data after. I mean, to find capital gains for 2005, it's actually the capital gains between 2005 and 2004, right? But then we don't have data for 2004
because we
didn't buy
house on 2005. That's why.
What?
Because we bought the house on 2005.
Yes, because we bought the house at the end of 2005,
Yes.
so we don't have the data for 2004. I mean, there
Yes.
is still data for 2004, but it's irrelevant to us because we didn't own the house before the end of 2004, right? Makes sense. So we have it. Um, Obviously, you can, if you drag it down, it's not going to compute anything because there's no data. Um,
It would, though. If you drag it down, it would be 150, and that's incorrect, right?
no, if you drag it down, see, yeah, B14, there's nothing because it's going to be 150 because there's nothing. B14 contains no data. It's blank, right? So that's incorrect, right? Because we
You
didn't
can
have any
also
capital
click
gains.
the cell.
Listen,
You can also click the right of the first cell, and it'll drop the formula down as well.
I can't hear you well, but logically, there's no capital gains in 2005 because we didn't own the house between 2004 and 2005. We didn't own the house, so there's no capital gains. Make sense? How can you have capital gains when you didn't own it, right? But so we have capital gains of, it's not 2006 capital gains. If you think about it, it's exactly, actually, it's between 2005 and 2006. Isn't that right? I just put it here, but it's between 2005 and 2006. This is between 2006 and 2007. Actually, between 2006 and 2007, there was a capital loss, right? But
What
this
do you
is,
mean by in between?
Can you speak up?
Yes, you said it's in between the years, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the capital gains, would you say 30,000 is the capital gain in 2006, or do you say it's in between?
Between 2005 and 2006, between. Okay?
Okay, so
think about it.
It wouldn't be correct saying capital gains 2006 is 30,000. That's incorrect, right?
Realized at the end of 2006. Realized at the end of 2006. Okay? Because you bought it at the end of 2005 and you held it until end of 2006. So the capital gains realized at the end of 2006 is 30,000. Okay? Is that clear? Or actually, the better term is it's not realized until you sell. It's not realized. Capital gains is not realized until you sell the house. So this is only accrued or what's the word imputed. Imputed is called imputed. Okay, imputed capital gains. In other words, until you sell the house, you don't realize it. It's just it's just virtual, or it's imputed. It's called imputed. Okay.
So every year the house price is increasing.
Say that again.
The house price is increasing every year.
Not every year. No, but in between 2006 and 2007, and it dropped. Right?
Okay.
It dropped. Also here, between 2012 and 2013, it dropped. And there was no change. There was no change between 2014 and 2015. Make sense?
Yes.
And they are all measured at the end of the year. So yeah, because we started owning the house. We started owning the house at the end of 2005. So we owned the house for 1 year. By the end of 2006, we owned the house for 1 year. And during that year, right, between the end of 2005 and the end of 2006, we had a capital gain, right, of 30,000. which was not realized, but just imputed, okay? Because until you sell, and then you see what is here. I already entered sum, right? Sum, that's basically summing up everything, C2 through C12. So over 11 years, I mean, between end of 2005 and end of 2016, if you sold a house, right? If you sold a house at the end of 2016, you realized the total capital gain of 350,000. That's obvious. You can do it also like 500, this minus, right? 500K minus 150K. It's the same thing, right? I mean, if you simply did this minus this.
Without using the formula.
Yeah. But you have to come to the same result, right? You have to come to the same result. Now, here's the cash flow or additional income. Now, incidental income. Now, let's think about it. When you buy a house, you can have it. You can own it for one of the two purposes, right? One, it's your home. It's your residence. It's your residence. You buy it as your residence. I mean, you don't have any intention of any investment intention, but eventually, I mean, just by living in the house, 10 years later, 11 years later, if the house value went up by 350,000, it was a good investment anyway. Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you had no intention of using it as an investment, but you used it as a home. But 11 years later, that was house was 500,000, and capital gains is 350K. It's a good investment. But you can own it for another purpose. I mean, you can buy a house and rent it out, right? Isn't that right? You can buy a house and rent it out. No? You don't do that? Suppose you hey,
Why is he not making the income of the house earlier on and doing it from
somebody's
2000?
yeah, is this a background noise, or is there a background noise, or someone is talking? Two people are talking within themselves. Somebody's talking on the phone. Okay, can you mute the microphone if you are talking with somebody? Hey, who's are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? If not, can you please mute your microphone? Can you please mute? I think I heard somebody.
He's not listening, Professor. Can you mute
And who is this? It's some foreign language. I think it's some East European language or something. But would you please mute your microphone if you're talking to someone? I can't proceed. All right. So now, so you can rent. You can you can buy a house and rent it out. It's a rental property. In other words, okay, so suppose you bought a house and it's a three-story house, and you are just two people. Let's say partners, two partners, boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, just two people. It's, like 6 rooms, 4 bathrooms. I mean, the house is like, 3 stories, 6 bedrooms, and 6 bathrooms. This could be a good candidate for a rental property, isn't it right? Then, so if you bought the house for that purpose, and then early on, you had to fix up the early on. If you rent it out, there will be a rental income, but for the first 3 years, there was no rental income because you had to fix up the house, right? You have to renovate it so that it can be approved by the housing department for rental purpose. So you didn't have any rental income for the first 3 years, but then from the 4th year you started subletting it or renting out. So these were annual rents. If annual rent is 18,000, what monthly it would be what? If you divide this by 12, you get monthly rent, right? Obviously. But, we are dealing with annual. So for the first 2 years, this was the rental income. And then from 2011, there was a 10% increase in the rent. That's what I did. If you look into the cell, I did, right? I gave it, 10% increase. And then from 2013, I started charging $2,000 monthly. It looks like, in 2009, rent was 15,000. I mean, monthly rent was 1,500. And then since 2013, the rent stabilized at 24,000 a year. So in this case, we know some of all those cash flows, the rental income, comes to this. Okay, and then let's think about it. Isn't this model exactly like stock? Think about it. Suppose this is not house. This is not the house. If it is a stock price was, fluctuating. I mean, it was going up first 2 years, and then it went down. So capital gains in stock. And what are these cash flows then? It's like dividends, right? And for the first 3 years, the company didn't pay any dividends, but they started paying dividends afterwards, right? And the dividend increased because the stock price also increased. Okay, so it makes sense. So there's a parallel. I mean, this this analogy is based on the parallel between the house value, any asset value, like house value or stock price or even bond, but bond pays fixed interest. So the interest from the bond doesn't change, right? Makes sense. Why? Because bond is lending, right? Bond, if you're buying bond, you're lending money. And in lending, think about it. When you borrow money, right? Does the interest rate change when you borrow money? I mean, when you borrow $10,000 for 5 years, during these 5 years, does the interest rate you pay, does it change? It doesn't change. It doesn't change. It also, did somebody say otherwise?
No.
The interest rate is fixed, when you borrow money. Just the same, when you put your money in the bank, you put $10,000 in the bank. Uh, does the bank, and if it may change if you put the money in the bank, but it's very immaterial because currently is like 0.1%. It may go up to, depending on the market interest rate, it may go up to like 0.2 or 0.15. But basically, uh, if you just keep your money in the savings account, your money is not tied up. But if you put your money in a CD, right? Does everyone understand what CD is?
Yes.
Yeah. What is CD? What is CD?
It's when you put the
CD,
money in certain time.
yeah, but who said? No. Who was the first person? Who's the first person?
I say if when you put the money in the certain time.
No. You are not the first person. The first person said
Sophia.
what
I said a
CD
certificate
is.
of deposit.
Certificate of deposit. And who is that? Who said that?
Sophia.
Safia. Okay. Yeah. Certificate of deposit. Okay, Safia, you got 0.25. Yeah. Certificate of deposit is a basically like savings account, but your money is tied up. In other words, if you have $10,000 in regular savings account, you can withdraw it anytime. You cannot, of course, you cannot make frequent withdrawal because it's savings account. They will not allow that because they need constant balance in your savings account. But if you put your money in CD, certificate of deposit, your money is tied up for like 1 year or 2 year. During the contract period, you cannot withdraw money. The money is tied up,
And if you do,
and then they
charge
pay
you penalty.
better interest. They pay you better interest. Currently, because the market interest rate is something like 0.1, they pay you something like, you can find something that pays 0.5 or 0.75, but maybe not 1%. But you cannot withdraw money because why do you think that's the case? Why can't you withdraw money from certificate of deposit?
Because they're using your money for other things, and that's the reason that they're going to pay you on it.
You're speaking like machine gun, but but it's still faint. Can you speak up? I heard
Yeah,
you.
I was saying that they
First,
basically
who
the
was?
bank is using your money
Yeah,
elsewhere,
the
so
bank
that's
is
how they're
using
able to
your
pay
money.
you on it. So they keep it, so you can't take it out, because if you take it out, then they're not able to use your money.
Right. I heard. Did everyone hear her? But first, state your name. State your name. Don't miss
Sophia.
out on. Huh?
Sophia.
Safia again?
Yeah.
Safia again? Okay. So Safia, you got 0.25 for that. Yeah, everyone heard Safia. The bank cannot lend out your money. The bank cannot use your money to commit to a long-term lending. They want to commit to a long-term lending, and if you withdraw, they cannot do that because they have to they have to give out your money when you withdraw, right? And then they cannot recall that money from the borrower because the borrower borrowed for, let's say, the money for 5 years, and you cannot recall when loaned out. You have to commit to that, right? That's why they can pay you a higher interest than a regular savings account. And of course, when they use your money to lend out, then at least they will lend it out at 4%, 5%. They make enough interest out of that to pay you 0.75. Make sense? So think about it. If you lend money and it's like it's tied up, you have to keep lending for. You cannot recall the money. You cannot. It's tied up. Then the borrower pays fixed interest. Okay, fixed interest. You understand? So that's why this is slightly different in this case. The income, cash flow from this, if this is a bond, and I told you, bond is basically a lending, okay? Lending money. If you buy bond, you are basically lending money to the borrower, which are usually companies, right? So just because of that, this is slightly different from the bond, but the idea is the same, because in case of bond, this cannot change, but interest cannot change, it's fixed. But then the basic principle is that there's capital gains from the asset you invested in, and then there's cash flow or incidental income from the asset. So the asset in this case is a house, but it can be a stock, or it can be stock holdings, or it can be bond holdings. Our next question is, so what is the how much did they grow? So G stands for growth rate. Okay, it's already 6:58, so I gotta move on a little faster. Growth, basically, growth is what? Growth rate is the rate of return in capital gains. Okay, growth rate is the rate of return on capital gains alone, on the price alone. In other words, so then you might wonder, so growth rate is different from rate of return? I mean, because I have R here, rate of return, or return on investment. No, it's not. It's slightly different, but it will be all the same, because now think about it. If there is nothing here, okay, you didn't rent out the house. If you didn't rent out the house, then there was no income, and then there will be only capital gains. Isn't that right? If you didn't rent out the house. Make sense? In that case, growth rate in your house value is the same thing as rate of return, right? And then holding period return. So think about it. Holding period return without cash flow during, simply, if you didn't rent out, simply, your holding period return will be simply, we know how to do it, is this minus this divided by this. That's what I got there, right? That's the holding period return. But we want to find annual returns, year by year, right? Year by year returns. So, oh God, I did. Okay. So if there is no rental income, then the growth rate will be the same thing as rate of return, right? Growth rate would be the same thing as rate of return, right? But then with the rental income, remember, the definition of return is capital gains plus cash flow, right? Capital gains plus income, right? So think about it. If this term is zero, you didn't rent out the house, then there's no, if this is zero, then that's holding period return. I mean, in other words, the return can be either with this or without this. If this is zero, right, then that's return. But if the difference between the growth rate and return is if there is no incidental income from this investment, then the growth rate is exactly the same thing as rate of return on investment, or rate of return. Okay, makes sense? Everyone understands that? They are basically the same thing, but if there is no incidental income, then they are the same thing. With the incidental income, there will be a difference. Okay, so how do we find the growth rate? So you are doing this with me now, right? So it's basically, capital gains, right? So I don't even have to put it in the parentheses. Capital gains divided by the price of the previous year, right? Because we are doing year by year return, right? Which is, year by year growth rate. There you go. I already put that, I already formatted it as percentage. So the minute you enter, and then here, we know it's the same thing, but can you help? Anybody help me? How do
Professor,
I find, huh?
I don't know. My internet is bad or no, but I can see that your screen.
Please speak up. You're very faint.
I'm saying my internet is slow, or I don't know, but like I can see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
Yes, but I don't know. That's
Oh,
my computer or from you. I don't know. That's why I just see that.
okay. Tell me,
Just turned black.
everybody else everybody else can see the Excel?
I can
Yeah.
see.
Okay. So, okay, who was that? Was it Abu back?
Yes, I brought back. Okay, let me exit and join one more time.
Yeah. I think it's your connection issue. So
Yes.
it's your computer or your connection. So you'll need to take care of that from your end. Nothing I can do from my end.
Professor,
All
what's
right.
the
So
formula on?
yeah. Who is this? Anyone? State your name first. You're gonna help me out here.
No, I'm asking what the formula is for the prior cell. E2.
Yeah.
What's the formula?
Okay. Who said E2? What is
Abul.
E2? Oh, what you're saying. No. I know what you're saying, but you cannot put E2, because if you put E2,
No,
what's it
I'm
gonna be the same?
asking. No, I'm asking what you did in E2.
Yeah. So don't just say that. Tell me what equal, and then what? Where's the data?
C2 minus
C2, yes, and then
minus B4.
not minus.
I mean,
We are trying to find the
divided
divided by what? Divided by what?
B4.
Yeah, B4, yes. But again, of course, growth is 0 because there was no change. But again, do we need to do it like that? We know better, because it's the same formula. It's the same formula, right? We don't have to do it all over again. All you need to do is simply copy and drag it down, right? There you go. And then, and as I did, you see this column, each column automatically populated, because I already put in there. See what this says is 1 plus growth rate. So I already built it in there. 1 plus E2, and then once column E is populated, column H is automatically populated as well. Okay. Now, what about the rate of return? So what did I say? The difference between growth rate and rate of return is simply this part, right? In other words, between 2015 and 2016, right? Between end of 2015 and end of 2016, there was capital gain of this 86K, and there was income of this. So obviously you will need to add them or sum, right? You can do it either this plus this, and then divide it by your initial investment of that. Okay. So the rate of return in 2016 is like that, and the same thing. You can drag it down. All right. So who helped me out here? Who was the one who was that lady who helped me out here in E3? Who gave me the formula?
Ophelia. Ophelia.
Ophelia. Ophelia. Okay, Ophelia, you got 0.25 point. Okay, so you see, now you understand the difference between growth rate and rate of return? Tell me, I need... No? You didn't understand the difference between the two?
Yes, I understand the difference between
Okay,
that.
good.
I have.
It's basically, they are basically the same concept, but growth rate is only the growth rate in the price only, right? And rate of return is including not only capital gains, but also the incidental income, like rental income, dividend, or interest, right? All right. Doing it this way, our next question is then, all right, so...
Is there a formula just to find out the income?
No. There's no formula for income because income is an external data, isn't it right? Income has to come from outside source. In other words, income is, in our scenario, in this scenario, this is rental income. This is a rent that comes in. So what formula is there for rent? You charge rent, in first year. This is simply, based on the assumption that monthly rent is 1,500 and 12 times 12 because it's annual, right? That's not formula. It's just, it's just natural result because, if monthly rent is 1,500, then annually it would have to be that times 12, right? Here I simply replicated it, right? Simply replicated it. And then from here, I assumed, the assumption was, I assumed that you raised rent by 10%. You raised rent by 10%. So that's it. I just used some assumption that's, arbitrary, right? And here I use the assumption that you raised rent to $2,000. Okay. So it's not based on any formula. It's just, initial data. That's, initial input data given. Initial input data is literally initial data. And there's no, for example, how much was, let's take a look at the Berkshire Hathaway today. Berkshire Hathaway. Oh my, it dropped, from yesterday. This is the daily change. It dropped $2.15, and the price change, whether it's price change, day to day or even minute to minute, right? It's a random variable. You understand? I can make a forecast. I can generate a forecast, but forecast is only an estimate. And And what really it cannot exactly nail what really happens, because what really happens depends on demand and supply at that during that transaction, right? And so it's a random variable. So if I want to run any analysis, I just have to use given data. Given data is just given, right? There's no formula to generate given data. Obviously, if there's then there's no market. If the data can be generated by I mean, that's not then market data, right? You understand? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so our next question is, so every year it grew. I mean, growth rates are uneven, and that's only natural. Growth rates are supposed to be uneven, right? But at least we can think about something. So what should be the average? Can you find the average of these growth rates? Yes, but here I did that here, but then it's what? This is simple average. In other words, what I did here was, let me do this, basically summing everything and then dividing it by how many data points do I have? Huh? Oh, you might say, 11, you count, you may count 11, but I don't have that many data points. I don't have that many data points, so I can easily count visually, but you can do better. I mean, if I have like hundreds of data points, I cannot visually count it. So what do? I use count command, count, and then just highlight that range, and it's going to count 10, whatever it is, okay? And then it looks crazy, but actually it's because, where is it? You don't have to give it too many decimal places, 2 or 3. 2 to 3 is enough. Okay? But then, I've been telling you, this is wrong. Why is it wrong? This is wrong. Arithmetic average or simple average is wrong. Why? We have to use geometric average. Why? Because there is growth. Think about it. These house values are not independent. You understand? These are not 2006 house value is the result of the growth from 2005 house value. 2007 house value is the result of the growth from 2006. You understand? In other words, the data points, these data points are correlated, right? And the previous year's data is feeding the growth. The current year's data is the result of the growth from previous year's data, and next year's price is the result of growth from current year's data, and so on. In other words, what's going on here is this. (2006) is the result of 2005 price times 1 plus growth rate 1. Okay? And 2007 is a result of 2006 price times 1 plus growth rate 2. But this is, in other words, again, because 2006 is what? Price 2006. 2006 price is what? How did you get to 2006 price? Anybody can help me? What is 2006 price?
Is it 180,000?
No, don't give me the number. I don't need the number. What is the logic? What is the mathematical logic of 2006 price?
It's the house
It
value
increased by
in
30.
2006.
Wait.
I said mathematical logic, mathematical.
Do you add them?
The
Yeah,
house
go on,
value
go
in
on.
2006?
House value in 2005,
That was
and then
B10,
what?
B11.
Can you please? Let's do it this way. State your name first. State your name first, because I don't know who's speaking. So who wants to go? Who wants to help me out here? So what is the definition, mathematical definition of 2006 price?
That was B11, I think. It's Algebraic normative.
Come on. Speak, first of all, your voice, you're very faint. And two, you must,
Algebraic.
Abrobac.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell me, what's the mathematical definition of P 2006?
That was B10.
P1, Sophia?
P1? There's no
Sorry,
P1.
no.
P11.
P11? No. What is P11? P11 is
I mean,
price in the 11th year.
B11.
But that's not the who the answer is right in your face, How can you? So what is the mathematical definition or mathematical logic of 2006 price?
Is it 2005 1 plus G?
And is it just 2000? Say that again.
It's pretty much that last line.
Don't give me verbiage. I don't want verbal definition. We don't use verbal definition. Use mathematical definition.
It's the
So what
price.
is
It's the price of 2005. The parentheses, then
The
1
capital gain.
plus G1.
Yes, that's it. But then
I think
you didn't. No.
120.
Hold on. You just read it. You didn't read it like math. The math is, it's right here. This is the definition of 2006 price. So 2006 price is 2005 price times, right? Times 1 plus G1. G1 is the growth rate in year 1. So in other words, then, because that's the definition of 2006 price, we can replace it by its own definition. Isn't that right? We can replace it by its own definition. If you replace it by its own definition, there it is. So 2007 price is basically 2005 price times 1 plus G1 plus times 1 plus G2. Make sense?
Yes.
Right? Everyone understands that? Who gave me that definition? Who gave me that definition? There was this lady who gave me that definition. Who was that? Who gave me that definition? Someone gave me that definition. You don't wanna earn extra point? Okay, that's fine. If you don't want, that's fine. But look, if we extend it like this, then 2008 2008 price will be what? Let me write it here. If we go on like that, isn't it that help me out here. P 2008. We're already running out of time, but how can we define 2008 price? Will someone help me?
You have, I guess, different ways of doing it. You can do P 2007.
Oh, state your name first.
Abul.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what was your name?
Abul, A-B-U-L.
Okay, Abul. Okay, so it's P 2007.
Yes, and this is one way.
Yeah. Just don't mix verbiage. Just do the math. Give me the math.
Parentheses,
Don't mix verbiage.
parentheses, 1 or times.
Okay, then yeah, times. You must not forget times there. Okay, 1 plus
1
1.
plus, I think it was G growth.
G.
G1.
G1.
G8.
No.
G8.
Yeah. It's 1 year growth rate. 1 year growth rate. But this is like a 1 year growth rate, but G3 because it's the third year, right? Growth rate in the third year.
Yes.
Right? Because we started from uh, 2006, 2007, 2008, right?
Well,
And
isn't this saying growth year of 2007 plus 1 growth? I mean, if you're putting
what?
3,
What?
that's, I'm not sure why you can't understand. It's pretty clear. But if you're saying it's growth,
3 means year 3. That 3 means year 3. Growth rate in year 3.
but if you're
You
looking
understand?
at 2007 and just 1 year, right? Or no?
2000. Say that again.
So we're looking at 2007, right?
2008. We're looking at 2008, and it can be explained by.
You put G3 because you are counting from 2005 to 2008, right?
No. It's not. It's not the growth rate over 3 years. It's the growth rate between 2007 and 2008. It's just.
Then wouldn't it
See,
be G1?
That's 1 year.
Yeah, wouldn't
it's
it be
just 1 year
G1?
because it's between 2007 and 2008.
Yeah, so wouldn't it
Okay.
be G1 instead of G3?
Yes, you're right. But that one was first year, second year, third year, because otherwise I would have to write it like listen. Otherwise I would have to write like G 2007. You understand? But then this
No.
takes so much time. Okay, do you understand?
It is, but we don't understand where the number 3 come from. That's why.
Yeah, is that the
Look.
third year or?
Okay,
Yes, this is
I see it now.
growth rate. You can look. This is growth rate in year 1. Growth rate in year 2. You understand?
Yes.
So now we are
Okay,
going
this
to
is growth rate in year 1, growth rate in year 2, growth rate year 3.
So you always have to count from the base year to the year you're looking at.
No. This is because as I said, the only other way I can do it is by doing like this. But put yourself, try to do it. You write it. You can do this. Use draw, and you try to write it like that.
No, I understand what you're saying.
You
I'm
will
just saying that the base year is 2005, and you're going to
Yes, the
2008.
base year is 2005.
So
But
every
look,
time you do it, you have to do the growth year between, I guess, the current year and the base year. Is that what the formula is?
no, not the current year and the base year. Look, 2008, we are trying to explain 2008 price by 2007 price and the growth rate between 2007 and 2008. Do you understand?
So that's only for 1 year.
Yes, for 1 year only.
Exactly.
But also you can expand it. You can expand it. But then what is this? How do you explain this? How do you explain 2007 price? How do you explain 2007 price? In other words,
P2 times
What is 2007 price?
KG2.
Isn't 2007 price?
Yeah.
Can someone, we did already this.
Equal 2006. P
Yes.
2006.
P 2006 and then what?
Times 1
Mm-hmm.
plus G.
Mm-hmm.
But the little number, where'd that come from? Should I say?
G2, second year growth, second
Oh.
year growth rate, right?
Okay.
So we can.
So if we put 2005, that goes G1.
Yes, because, look, there was no 2005, first of all, because we didn't own the house in 2005. We bought it only at the end of 2005. So the prices as of the end of 2005, and the growth happened between the end of 2005 and the end of 2006. Do you understand?
Yes.
So we can, and also this can be rewritten as, this can be rewritten as P 2000. I mean,
So technically we start with 2006. That's why we got G1.
yes, because G1, we are starting with, because 2005 price is already given, right? 2005 is already given. There's nothing we can do about it. But at least we can explain 2006 price by 2005 price times 1 plus G1, which is the first year growth rate. You understand? And the reason otherwise I would have to write for growth rate, I would have to write like this, and it takes a lot of time. Do you think it's easy? It's a pain. You try that with your own draw function, right? Try to draw it with a mouse. And the beauty of math is, the benefit of math is, it cuts out all the verbiage. It cuts out all the fat. Wordiness is fat. Wordiness is, we don't have to keep saying 2007. It's already, very mouthful, and it's already exhausting. When I keep saying price 2008, put price 2007, it's really, really exhausting. You can simply say P208, or P, and growth rate. That's why at least I wanted to simplify this instead of keep writing 2007. G1 is the first year growth rate, G2 second year growth rate, G3 third year growth rate. You understand?
Yep.
It's not the growth rate for 3 years. It's not the growth rate for 2 years. It's just annual growth rate, 1 year by year growth rate. But again, we can see, because we can rewrite this, we can replace this by its own definition, right? Then what is this? How do we rewrite this? We can rewrite it as P. Can someone help me out here?
P2006 equal P2005.
No, not equal, but P2. Let's first do this. What is P2007?
Times
What is
Times, yeah.
times? Times?
1
That's fine. 1,
plus growth of G2.
yeah, second year growth rate. And then I only replace this. What is still remaining? What's still remaining?
G3. 1 plus
1 plus G3, yes. Because we are explaining 2008 price by 2007 price. times 1 plus G3, then it can 2007 price can be again explained like this. And then what is 2006 price? We can go further. What is 2006 price?
2005.
Yes, we can replace this by its own definition, right? Its own definition is here. So then, so who helped me out with this? Who helped me out with this? Was it Abul?
Yeah, no, me, it's Algebraic.
Abroback. Okay, so
that was a bull.
Abroback.
Why you say that?
Was it Abul or Abroback? Abroback?
A bull.
Yes, yes,
Abul?
Professor.
No,
Yes.
hold on. Abul, you know, you got 0.25. So
Is
then,
there any way to have the G plus? I guess you can't do I guess a square formula, right? Or bring it to a power.
Listen, no. Listen, you can this be squared? It
No.
cannot be squared because it can be only squared if G2 is the same thing as G3. Right? If G2 is the same thing as G2 is equal to G3, then it can be squared. Or are they same? Every year the growth rates are uneven. It cannot be squared. Do you understand? It can be squared only if they are the same. That's why we are trying to find the average. Okay? Now, so then, how do we rewrite this?
So P 2005
Yes,
multiply
P 2005 multiplied by
1
1
plus
plus
G1. It's gonna be G1, right? I think
1 plus.
G.
Who was helping me here? Who was helping me here?
Algebraic.
Okay, you said G1.
Yes, G1.
Yeah, please enunciate because I thought you were saying 1. G1 and then because the
Multiply
definition, and then the rest of them must tag along, right? Multiplied by
1 plus G2.
Okay, 1 plus G2, yes, and then multiplied by,
G.
come on, be consistent. Don't give me a
G1.
silence.
G1. You can hear me?
Speak up. 1 plus.
1 plus G3.
Yes, you're right. You got it. Hold on. It's not easy. Once again, I'm drawing this with mouse and try it yourself how difficult it is. Yeah, so this way, now you understand the logic behind it. You understand what this means. So 2006 price is actually like 2015 price times 1 plus growth rate in 11th year, right? But that can be, once again, expanded like this, right? It can be expanded like this. Now, then again, this is the generalization, you know, because in our example, we had specific time subscript, but when we don't have time subscript, I mean, when you know a specific timeline is not given, we can generalize it like this, right? Price at time t plus 1 is PT times 1 plus G1. Now you get that. Price at time t plus 2 is price at time t plus 1 times 1 plus G2, which is equal to price at time t times 1. You know, I'm replacing this by its own definition, right? And then we keep going like that, and we can eventually generalize this. And the thing is, now let's think about it. We had to write it like this because the growth rates were all different. Growth rates are all different. But if the growth rates are the same, so this is what it means. If this means if for that, what does that look like? What does this symbol look like? Can anybody tell me?
What
Who helped me out here? Was it Algebraic? Who helped me out here?
Yes, Algebraic, that was me.
You got 0.25 point. So what does this symbol look like? What do you think it looks like? Anybody?
An upside down A.
Yeah. And what do you think that means?
Got me.
That's a mathematical symbol for all something, right? So that's that means if for all time, all t, where I is not equal to j, that means t for all t. So that means g1, where I is not same as j. That means 2007, obviously 2007 is not equal to 2008. Year 1 is not equal to year 2. Year 2 is not equal to year 3. In other words, the time subscripts are not the same. So, but when we have different growth rates for every year, but if all those growth rates are the same, in other words, 1 year's growth rate is the same with another year's growth rate, and for all the time, different years, the growth rates are equal to each other, then what does that mean? There's no need for time subscript. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? If the growth rates are all the same, there is no need for the time subscript because they are all the same.
Yes, you're right, Professor.
All one and the same. And the reason we need time subscript is because they are different. Growth rates are different every year. So this means, that's what it means. You should be, you should understand the mathematical logic, okay? Instead of saying in words, and words get very wordy. I don't like wordiness. Math doesn't like wordiness. It's very compact and terse and concise. So that's the benefit of math. So then, if all the growth rates are the same, then everything collapses to what? All this first of all, pt plus n, everything will, because it's pt plus n is like, pt times 1 plus g1, g2, g3, 1 plus, gn minus n, because n is in this case 11, right? So that is g11, g10, g9. Do you understand? That means, if we apply this to our scenario, this is g11, g10, g9. You understand that? Now then, when everything is just g, they are all the same, then what does it become? It's pt times 1 plus g times 1 plus g times 1 plus g times 1 plus g. It's, 11 times like that. So then what does it become? It simply collapses to pt times 1 plus g raised to n. Okay, makes sense?
What is N, Professor?
N is the number of periods. N, what do you think N stands for? Number of periods. Right?
Okay.
So in our example, that N is 11, isn't that right? That N is 11. Or was it 10? Growth rate alone, there were 10. Okay, so now then we can it boils down to this. So to so since we know now we are getting to that part. Let me use. Okay, please. Monday I won't be able to speak to you anymore because I'm almost losing my voice already. Monday, if I'm quiet, I want you to just watch the video and um, ask me questions, and I won't be able to verbally answer. Maybe I will, answer you through. Okay, so now we have this formula: pt plus n equals pt times 1 plus g. G raised to n. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Our next question is then, what do we want to know? I mean, what is our unknown here? What do we want to know?
The pt plus n. What is
Huh?
we try to find out what is the t plus pt plus n.
PT plus n? No, no, no. This is known. Let's think about it. Is this known or not known? I mean, in other words, in our example, this is PT plus 11, right? In our example, do we know PT plus 11?
Yes.
Is it known?
What is T,
Come
Professor?
on.
What is
T
T?
is time.
Time?
T is time. Yeah. So what is our PT?
No, I wanted to
We
make
know
sure. I
PT
didn't
and
know if it was time or something else.
Time plus 11.
Yes, but then what is our T?
Time.
Times.
Oh, no. Yeah, of course. But it means time. It's a time subscript. But in our example, what is our example?
The year, the
Isn't it?
year.
2005. The year
Yeah. So
2005 when it first started.
what is our T?
T is the year.
2005. 2005.
2005. And
2005.
so what is our PT? What is our PT? What is our
2005.
PT?
2005.
No, PT.
7.
What? No. What is our PT?
150,000.
150,000.
The principle of time.
150,000. Yes, our PT is 150,000. So we know it. Isn't that right? It's known. So what is PT plus 11 then? What's PT plus 11? I mean, what is T plus 11 then? What's our T plus 11? What is our T plus 11?
Where did you get 11 from, Professor?
Is
11 years.
500.
Oh, okay.
11 years. Of course. Look, this is the beginning
So I
of
guess
our timeline. This is the end of our
500,000.
timeline.
500,000.
Yeah, someone answered it, but my question was, what is T plus 11? What's T plus 11?
600.
No, 350.
350,000.
No. This is T, isn't it right? This is T. Then what's t plus 11?
2016?
Yeah, 2016. Yes, it's only a time marker. It's not any dollar value. It's only a time marker. I'm only asking what is t plus 11. If t was 2005, then t plus 11 must be 2016. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what is t plus pt plus 11? Then what's pt plus 11? We know 500,000. Isn't that right?
Yes.
500. What? Yeah. T is 2016, but pt plus 11 is
500,000.
500,000. So my question is, do we know this? Do we know this or not? Do we know this?
500,000.
I know. So do we know this or not?
No, we know
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So is this the? So this is not unknown, right? This is known, and we know this, don't we? We know this. We know this, don't we? What is PT? What is PT?
150,000.
2005.
Yeah, 150,000. 150,000. Yeah, a T is 2005. T is 2005. But price at 2005. Price at the end of 2005 was 150. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Can't you make the distinction between PT and P? Just T? T is time subscript. PT is the price in that time. Make the distinction. You understand? And when I'm asking what is T, then you are giving me price. And when I'm asking what is PT, you are giving me the year.
So T is 2005 and PT
Yes.
is a 100,000, the value of the.
That's correct. That's correct. So this is the known quantity, isn't that right? This is the known quantity. This is the known quantity. Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the known quantity. This is the known quantity too. So we have, this is not what we are solving for. Isn't it obvious? This is not what we are solving for because it's already known. And do we know this? Do we know N?
Yes.
Yes, N is 11. So this is known. So what is the unknown? What is the only unknown here?
G.
G is the unknown. Yes.
G.
This is our X. This is our unknown. Then how do we solve for G? Then our question is, how do we solve for G? Okay. And the math, we are really, I don't. So I'm gonna have to go very quickly, and that's why you should have. If you watched the video already, this is. So how do we solve for G? The problem is, and in last class, I must have. Please mute your microphone if you're speaking to someone else, because background noise is really making it hard. I probably told you in the last class that key to solving any equation is identifying this structure. Do you understand? All equations can be solved once you identify this structure, z equals x times y structure. Why? Look. Let me give you an example. 12 is 4 times 3, isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Then,
Yes.
Okay. Suppose you didn't know this. Suppose this is the unknown. This is the x.
We have to divide it.
Yeah, we have to divide 12
You
by
divide
3,
by
right?
3, and we're gonna get our answer.
4, right? You have to divide 12 by 3. Okay, this is not even math. This is just a logical thinking. Isn't that right? This is just a logical thinking.
Yeah.
So you can In other words, if x is the unknown, how do you solve for x?
We have to
Divide z by y. Isn't
Z
that
divided by
right?
Y.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, in this equation, what can you see? In this equation, what is z, what is x, what is y? Can you identify?
PT plus N divided by PT.
Yeah. But first, tell me, what is z? What is z here in this?
The PT plus N is Z,
Yes, that's z, right?
and
And then what is
Y.
x?
Oh, X is PT, I believe.
Yeah, x is pt. Yeah, and then what is y?
The G, the G and N.
No. How can that be? Does that mean, then if that is the case, then is it pt times g?
Then it's 1 is Y.
This, look, this
1
whole
plus G to the
chunk,
N.
this whole chunk is y. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, okay, we are stuck here because think about it. If pt is the unknown, we can simply divide this by this, right? If pt plus 1 is the unknown, we can if pt is the unknown, we can simply divide this by this. But it is g that is the unknown. It's the g that's the unknown. That means we have to isolate this g. We have to isolate this g. So how do you isolate g? First of all, we will have to isolate just as far as you can. Since
Multiply by itself.
no, hold on. Let me give you, because we are running out of time. Let me give you the answer already. This is how you solve for g, right? But then how do we arrive there? How do we arrive at that? That's what I'm in other words, steps of derivation. How do we arrive at that? So
But we have to. Oh, you took it off.
first, we will have to isolate whatever we can isolate. So
Yeah.
is this? So we will have to divide pt plus n by pt. Is it my voice echoing, or is it background noise? If you divide that and we isolate only in the right hand side, we have only this. We have only this. Now the next thing is, if there is no n, you understand? If there's no exponent, we can isolate g simply by moving 1 to the other side. You understand? Do you understand? Tell
Yes,
me.
Professor.
Right. In other words, if we didn't have this, if this was non-existent or just 1, if this is just 1, we don't even need parentheses, and we can isolate g by subtracting 1 from each side. Make sense?
Yeah.
But then the problem is, exponent is like a padlock. You have to open this lock. How do you open this lock? What's the key? First, if we open this up, then we can isolate g by subtracting 1 from each side. How do we do that?
We have to find the value of g first and then multiply by.
No, how do you find value of g first? G is our final solution. I mean, to find g,
we have to put negative.
You have to open the padlock first. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, so
you don't have to
the
subtract.
idea, subtract what? How subtract what?
-1.
How do you subtract -1? How do you subtract 1? It's inside this parenthesis. Are you saying do this?
Okay, no.
Are you saying this from both sides? But how do you do this? In other words, how can that be subtracted?
So we have to do the exponent first.
It's inside the parenthesis, and unless you open up the exponent, you cannot subtract it. Yeah. Right? Yes. So what you need to do is you need to have some basic knowledge, understanding of the exponent. First of all, we all know x squared is, we can turn x squared. How do you turn x squared into x? How do you do that? How can you? How can you?
2x. 2x.
2x? What do you mean?
Times x.
Oh, okay. N times n.
How?
We have n times n. N times n.
N times n. What is n times n? There's no. We are only talking about x squared. And
X
how do you
times
turn x times x? Look, of course, x times x is, it's only x squared. You are just saying that's the definition of x squared, right?
Yes.
That's the definition of x squared.
Yes.
It doesn't.
So we have to put 1 plus g and then times 1 plus g.
No. Listen, no. Where's g? There's no g. We are talking about x squared.
Yes, but I'm talking
so
about.
How do you make this? My question is, how do you make this x? How do you make it? Huh? How do you turn x squared to x? Oh God.
I would.
You didn't watch the video at all. And I'm telling you, I cannot do this. I cannot do this, like, because I'm exhausted, just 2 hours is like, 2 hours is like, this is like a full combat, because it's like, that's why I'm telling you to watch the video, because the video explains everything. But then you don't watch the video, and I cannot reteach you like this. So think about it. What is this? What is the square root of x squared?
X.
Yes, you know that.
So you have to square the root in order to get x.
Of course, then you take the square root. Square root of x squared, then it turns into x. Isn't it right?
Yes.
Again?
Yeah.
Yes, the basic mathematics, algebra.
Yeah, but then how come you didn't, nobody came up with the answer?
Sorry, my connection is sometimes breaking. That's
If
why. Sorry.
what?
My
Again,
internet, my
everything is
internet
mumbling.
sometimes
If
breaking.
you're talking like that, everything sounds like mumbling. So
I'm
you
sorry.
must enunciate clearly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my internet sometimes is not good.
Okay, and your voice is, very faint. So it's like your voice is fading away.
It's
So
good right
again,
now. It's good right now.
what did we just do? What did we just do? We lost this exponent. We lost the exponent by taking the square root. Right? Makes sense? So that gives you an idea. What about then x cubed? X cubed is, we know it's x times x times x, right? And how would you turn this into x? How would you turn this into x?
X squared times X.
Two. You have
X?
to put two to the. Will you put the sign? You have to put two to the up.
No, 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 no. Actually, um, what is square root? Square root is, root of the squared term. Square root is root of the square term. So the term square root is, already imply it is, it applies to the squared term. But this is not, is this squared? What is this
No,
called?
Cube.
Third power, right?
that's just
Another name for third power is cube, isn't it right?
Cubed.
yeah.
It's cubed. So to turn it into a x,
We have
you
to
must take
minus.
the
We have to minus.
root, cubic root.
You have to
What?
minus, professor.
Minus?
Yeah, because x
What
power
minus?
3 minus x square cube foot. That's it.
No,
That's
no, no,
just
no, no.
x.
Minus where? I mean, this is not additions. Are you saying this? You are just, you are not, if you are just delaying
No,
the. Are
no,
you
not like
saying
this.
this?
No, 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 no. I'm not saying this. No.
Okay, then it doesn't help. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna get to that later, but that's not. There's nothing like minus here because what is x cubed? X cubed is x times x times x. There's no addition subtraction there. So if it is something cubed, then you have to take the third root, cubic root or third root, cubic root or third root. You understand? What does that mean? You're taking the root of third power. It's also called, a third radical, cubic radical or third root or third radical. What does that mean? Um, you think this is a square root, but
Multiply it 3 times.
actually, what?
Multiply it 3 times.
Yes, but the original notation of square root is like this. You understand?
Yes.
The original notation, and that way you can tell it is, oh, it's the second root or square root. And then, for example, if you want to find if you want to turn this into x, then what do? You'll have to do you'll have to take the fourth root,
Yeah.
okay, or fourth radical. Okay, so if you keep going on like that, how do you turn x raised to n to x? How do you do that? Simple. We take the nth
N radical.
radical, nth root. Okay. Of course, it may look very difficult to calculate, but you are not the one to calculate it. The computer will do that. So the thing is, oh, now we understand. To lose this padlock, we want to lose this padlock, the exponent. To lose that padlock, right? We have to take that nth root. Okay? And another way of saying this is you raise it to 1/3. You raise this thing to 1/3, right? Again, if you raise the same thing, if you raise something to half power, if you raise something to half power, that's square root. If you raise something to 1/3 power, that's the third root. So that means this is the same thing as saying you're taking the nth root, or nth, 1 over n, nth radical. Now, what about this? Okay, so okay, do you know what to do? I mean, when we have this is the rule of exponents. X to the a times x to the b. How do you do that? How do you calculate it? X to the a, x raised to a times x raised to b. How do you calculate that? Anyone? Anyone? So in other words, something like 10 to 10 squared times 10 cubed. What is it?
10 to the 5th.
10/5.
10 to the 5th, yes. 10 to the 5th, because 10 to the 5th is exactly 100,000, right? 10 to the 5th, which is 100,000, right? And how did you calculate that? You simply did.
You add the exponent.
Yeah, because if the base is the same, you simply add the exponents. Right? If the base is the same, you simply add the exponent. But when you do this, if you have x to the a raised to b, what do?
You have to get a or x by itself and then multiply it by b, right? Or no?
No. Tell me. What do? It's x to the a times b. You understand? A simple example. 10 squared. We all know 10 squared is 100, and 10 to the third is 1,000. So if you multiply 100 by 1,000, then that's 100,000, right? But this, 10 squared raised to the third power, 10 squared cubed, what do? We already know it's 100, it's 100, 100 times 100 times 100 times, 100 times 100 times 100, so it will be 1 million, right? But, you do exactly 2 times 3. Okay, then what is that? 10 to the 6th. Isn't that right? And 10 to the 6th is exactly what? 10 to the 6th is 1 million. Isn't that right? So that's how it is. Then think about it. If we do this, why do we, when we take the nth radical or nth root of x to the n, why does it become n? Why does it become x? It's because you are doing x raised to the n times 1 over n. And what happens? They cancel out. Isn't it right? N times 1 over n just becomes 1. So that's why it turns to x, because it's x to the 1. And everything is the same. Here, you do this, what does it become? They cancel out. So it becomes x to the 1 itself. What happens here? Same thing. They cancel out, becomes x. Right? So we're almost out of time. So that's the idea. Then we want to lose this, what do we need to do? We want to lose that, what do we need to do? Huh? We'll raise this thing.
Raise it to the 1 over n.
Yes, we'll raise this thing. We'll take the nth root of this thing. But think about it. This is an equation, isn't that right? This is an equation. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same to the other side too. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the equal won't hold. Isn't that right? It cannot be equal. If you do only this to the right-hand side, and if you don't do that to the left-hand side, this equal cannot hold. It cannot be equal anymore. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it?
Yes, Professor.
Nobody gets it?
Yes, Professor.
You mean, yes, you get it, right? Think about it. It was like this,
Yes.
and they were equal. So if you do something here, you have to do also the same thing to the other side. You understand? So then, what does that mean? This side, they cancel out. N and 1 over n, it cancels out. So this side becomes simply 1 plus g. Now it is free. The right-hand side becomes 1 plus g. And the left-hand side is what? The same thing, but I'm not repeating the same thing because it's hard to write. It takes a lot of time. So now, this is n. Okay, now we can isolate g. Isn't that right? We can isolate g, right? How? Yeah, by subtracting 1 from each side, right? If you subtract 1 from this side, 1 will go away, right? Subtract 1, it's going to go away. And on the left-hand side, I would really want you to do this yourself, and you would understand how difficult it is to write with the mouse. Then on the right-hand side, you have only G. Left-hand side.
You don't have a touch computer, Professor?
Don't I have what?
Touch.
A touchpad.
Yeah,
This works as this can work as touchpad, but if I use it as touchpad, I don't know. I haven't tried it.
You can use a pen. It's more easy.
Yeah. The thing is, I tried it. It didn't work. I tried it, but it didn't work.
Which type of pen did you use, Professor? Because there's different kinds.
Huh?
There's one specifically for your computer.
Oh, that's why. It's not, it's not any
with an HP.
it's not any pen. Okay. I just used, some, the stylus that was for my tablet, and it didn't work on this. Okay. So I should find out. Okay. So if I can rewrite it now. Now we can G equals PT plus N over PT. Okay.
So the 1 over n.
Raised to 1 over n minus 1.
Minus 1.
Now we found it. So then let's try that. So here in our example, I already calculated geometric average here, but stop. And what is this? B2 is what? B2 is our PT plus N, right? And B13 is our PT, right? Raised to 1 over and 1 over N. And just to calculate N, I mean just to find without visually counting, I did A2 minus A13, right? A2 minus A13 will give you 11 years, isn't that right? Because it's 2016 minus 2005. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Without manually entering anything, and it's important to avoid manually entering anything other than the initial input data, because the initial input, you have to manually enter initial input data, but otherwise you don't manually enter it. You code it. It's called soft coding. So it's 1 over N minus 1. And when I did that, that's the result. Okay, so how much difference is there? I mean, you might say, oh, difference is not that big deal. But then, look, we can, something here, we can tell simple average is overstating. Simple average is overstating the real average. And the reason we have to use geometric average is because, think about it, if you use this and do this times, if you do like this times 1 plus this raised to 11, you're not gonna get here. It will be a greater value. But only by doing this, think about it, this times 1 plus this raised to 11, then it will take you exactly to this value. Okay?
But Excel has a geo average, right?
Excel has geometric average, yes. I use geometric as geo mean, but it requires a little, but it's a geometric average of this column, not this column, right? Geometric average of this column, not this column. Okay, so try that. I mean, I don't have time, so we don't have time. We're already out of time. So if you do verify this times, let me quickly verify. This times, this times, oh, it's so dark, I have to. This times 1 plus this raised to A2 minus, because it's got to be exactly A2 minus A13. Then that's going to give raise it to 11 years, right? Hit enter. Exactly. Isn't that right? I did that and I arrived at this. Okay? And you try that with arithmetic average. You will see it's going to be greater than 500,000. So you can tell arithmetic average or simple average is not good for time series. In other words, when there's something growing over time, you have to use geometric average because all these data points, data values are correlated with each other, right? They are all correlated. It's not independent, okay? Simple average is used when the data values are independent of each other, but just like in a time series, it's also called longitudinal data. Longitudinal data is the data that grows over time. Because growth rate affects the next data value, subsequently, on and on, you have to factor in that growth factor. So you have to use the geometric average, not simple average. All right, everyone is, it's already 8:21. You guys owe me 5 minutes. So Monday I will finish, 5 minutes early. Okay. Now, so the class is dismissed. I'm gonna stop recording.